On the morning of June 6, 1944, German officers stationed along the cliffs of Pas de Calais received reports of Allied landings far to the west, across the beaches of Normandy. Soldiers checked their weapons, scanned the horizon, and waited. They did not move. They did not reinforce. They stayed exactly where they were, staring out at the empty water, convinced that the real invasion, the main assault, was still coming for them. 15 divisions, over 150,000 men, dug in, ready, guarding a coastline that would never be attacked. This was not a mistake. It was not confusion. It was the result of one of the most successful intelligence operations in modern warfare. A deception so complete that even after the truth was unfolding in blood and fire to the west, the German High Command refused to believe it. They had been locked onto the wrong target, and the Allies had put them there on purpose. The problem facing Allied planners in 1943 was brutally simple. Everyone knew where an invasion should happen. Pas de Calais was the obvious choice, the narrowest point of the English Channel, the shortest route to the heart of Germany. Ports, infrastructure, direct access. The Germans knew it. The Allies knew the Germans knew it. And that created a trap, but not the kind anyone expected. If the Allies invaded Normandy instead, farther west, longer beaches, more exposure, they would face a different problem. The Germans could respond. They could move reserves. They could crush the landings before a foothold was established. Unless those reserves never moved. Unless German forces stayed at Calais, waiting for an attack that would never come. The Allies did not just need to hide their real plan. They needed to sell a fake one, so convincing that even after the invasion began, the Germans would still believe the lie. This was the core challenge handed to a secretive unit called the London Controlling Section, a group so classified that most Allied commanders did not know it existed. Their job was not to plan battles. It was to plan deception, to create entire fictional realities and make the enemy believe them. They started building a ghost. In southeast England, across from Calais, the Allies assembled what appeared to be the largest invasion force ever created. It had a name, 1st United States Army Group, FUSAG. It had a commander, George S. Patton, the general Germany feared most. It had tanks, landing craft, supply depots, trucks, and airfields. It had radio traffic, unit movements, and reconnaissance reports. German planes flying over England photographed the preparations. German listening posts intercepted the communications. Everything pointed to Calais. Everything was fake. The tanks were rubber and wood, inflatable decoys that could be moved by a few men. The landing craft were canvas stretched over frames. The radio chatter was scripted, transmitted by a small team cycling through fake call signs. Patton himself was real, but his army was a fiction, a shadow force designed to be seen and believed. And it worked because it fit what the Germans already thought. It confirmed their assumptions. It told them what they wanted to hear. The visual deception was only part of it. Engineers constructed fake oil storage facilities. They built dummy airfields with plywood planes. Entire tent cities appeared overnight, designed to look authentic from the air. Local populations were briefed to act as though massive troop movements were happening. Double agents spread rumors in neutral countries. Every layer reinforced the same story. But hardware alone was not enough. Deception is not just about what the enemy sees. It is about what they believe, and belief requires trust. The Allies had something Germany did not know they had: a network of double agents, men and women who the Germans believed were spying for them, feeding intelligence back to Berlin. In reality, every single German agent in Britain had been captured, turned, or controlled. The system was called the Double Cross, the XX Committee, run by MI5 with surgical precision. And the most valuable agent in that network was a Spanish man named Juan Pujol Garcia. The Germans knew him by his code name Arabelle. The British called him Garbo. To Germany, he was their most trusted source, a dedicated anti-communist with a network of sub-agents across Britain. In truth, he was working for British intelligence, and his sub-agents did not exist. He invented them. He invented their reports. He fed the Germans exactly what the Allies wanted them to believe, and they never questioned him. Garcia had built such an elaborate fictional network that the Germans were paying stipends to imaginary people. He created backstories, personalities, and communication patterns for agents who were nothing but names on paper. The level of detail was staggering. One fake agent died and Garcia sent a request for widow benefits. Why Germany paid. Garbo's greatest performance came just before D-Day. On June 5th, he sent an urgent message to his German handlers. He warned them. He told them the invasion was imminent, that forces were moving, that Normandy was the target. But the message was sent late at night, deliberately timed so that it would not be decoded, and passed up the chain of command until after the landings had already begun. When German officers received it on June 6th, they saw that Garbo had been right. He had called it. He had warned them, but they had not received the message in time. His credibility soared. Days later, he sent another message. This one said that Normandy was a diversion. The real invasion, the main force, was still coming. It would hit Calais. Fusag was waiting to strike. The Germans had to hold their reserves in place. They had to be ready. And because Garbo had been right about Normandy, because he had proven himself, they believed him. Hitler himself read the intelligence. He agreed. The forces at Calais did not move. The timing of this second message was critical. It came when German commanders were starting to doubt, starting to consider redeploying. Garbo's report stopped them cold. June 6th became June 7th, then June 8th. In Normandy, Allied forces fought through hedgerows and bunkers, clawing their way inland. Casualties mounted. The beachhead was fragile. German counterattacks came in waves. Panzer divisions that had been stationed farther south began moving toward the front. But the 15th Army, the massive force at Calais, stayed put. If those divisions had moved west, if they had reinforced the Normandy front in those first critical days, the invasion could have stalled. It could have collapsed, but they did not come. The 15th Army stayed in place, eyes fixed on the horizon, scanning for the fleet that would never arrive. Meanwhile, intelligence reports kept flowing. More fake radio signals, more agent messages, more confirmations that Calais was the target. German commanders grew anxious. They wanted to move. Some units began to shift. Then another message from Garbo, another warning. Hold, wait. The main force is coming. And they stopped. They stayed. The psychological weight of waiting became its own kind of paralysis. The question is not just how the Allies pulled it off. It is why Germany fell for it so completely. Part of it was structure. German intelligence was fragmented, competitive, dysfunctional. The Abwehr, military intelligence, and the SD, the SS intelligence service, did not trust each other. Reports were filtered through ideology and ambition. Analysts told their superiors what they wanted to hear. Hitler believed in his own intuition, often overruling his generals based on gut feeling. And his gut told him Calais made sense. It was the rational target. The Allies, he thought, would not be stupid enough to choose anywhere else. Then there was confirmation bias. Every piece of fake intelligence reinforced what the Germans already assumed. They were not analyzing evidence. They were collecting confirmation. And every new report made the lie feel more real. The deception was not just clever. It was psychologically engineered to exploit how people process information under stress. It turned the Germans' own logic into a trap. Young intelligence officers saw what they expected to see. Analysts built assessments around assumptions, not data. And at the top, decisions were made based on belief, not evidence. By the time the German High Command accepted that Normandy was not a diversion, it was too late. The Allies had broken out. The beachhead was secure. Supply lines were established. Reinforcements poured in. The window to crush the invasion had closed. The forces at Calais had missed the fight. The divisions that could have turned the tide sat idle, waiting for ghosts. Some historians estimate that the deception gave the Allies an extra 2 weeks without facing the full strength of German reserves. 2 weeks in a campaign where hours mattered. 2 weeks bought with rubber tanks, fake radio signals, and a Spanish double agent who never set foot on a battlefield. The cost of the lie was measured in German paralysis. Divisions that did not move. Orders that were not given. A strategic failure born not from weakness but from certainty, from believing too strongly in their own assumptions. And that certainty came from intelligence they trusted, sources they had relied on for years, information that fit their worldview perfectly. Operation Fortitude did not just deceive. It locked Germany into a reality that did not exist. And by the time they tried to break free, the world had already changed around them. The Ghost Army faded. Patton moved to command real forces, leading the Third Army across France. Garbo continued to send reports until the war's end, never once exposed. After the war, he was awarded medals by both Britain and Germany, one of the only people in history decorated by both sides. The Germans never knew. They never found out that the agent they trusted most, the network they relied on, had been a fiction, that the entire intelligence picture they built their defense around was a lie. Decades later, declassified documents revealed the scale of the operation, the layers of deception, the coordination required to sustain it. It was not luck. It was not accident. It was deliberate, calculated, and executed with precision. And it raises a deeper question. How many other operations, in other wars, in other conflicts, have worked the same way? How often has reality been shaped not by force, but by belief, by making the enemy see what you want them to see, and trust what you need them to trust? The story of the Calais trap is not just about World War II. It is a blueprint, a demonstration of how wars can be won before the first shot is fired, by controlling not the battlefield, but the mind. And maybe that is the most unsettling part. Somewhere right now, someone is staring at a threat that does not exist, convinced it is real, while the actual danger moves unseen.